that it ended so soon after, because I don't know if people can stand listening to you all by yourself.
For what it was worth, I had fun
too long
for a little bit, so it was okay.
My guess is, I don't know what people are hearing, but I was solo casting and you were probably solo casting. And if we could have combined them somehow, that would have been
really bad.
So game number 3, Cinderin,
Yep.
Whose lineup? Do you agree with the panel?
Not really. I think they're making it sound a lot more one-sided than it is. I do agree with a lot of the analysis they have about what makes the Radiant lineup tick and what it can do, but I feel like a lot of the times when you like triple dip in saves like this, it can get a little bit awkward depending on how the fights start. Like if so many components in their lineup do the same thing, they can still be broken apart by, you know, they need to deal with glimpse, they need to deal with Spirit Breaker charge that can randomly hit at angles they're not ready for, and covering the swarm is going to be super annoying. You can't save from that. It's going to stick to everything they have. It sticks on Banish, it sticks on Nightmare, it sticks on Press the Attack. So, you know, I feel like Black and Yellow have a decent shot at this game. I don't know if I would say they're a favorite, but I definitely don't think they're like super outdrafted or anything, but we'll see how it goes down. If Wildcard Gaming play this really well with their saves, it can obviously look really good. But I wouldn't. I would hold my judgment a little bit about this just being an outdraft.
Okay, so if it's not an outdraft, how close is it in terms of percentages, would you say?
I don't know, I have a really hard time calling this because to me the Radiant lineup looks kind of weird. So I don't really know what to say. I'm just going to say 50-50. The weakness that I see in the Radiant lineup is how do you initiate fights? You have one hero that can do it, which is Legion Commander, and that hero can just get glimpsed. Then you have, like we talked about, you have all these saves, but you don't have like specifically exceptionally good ways of dealing with Terrorblade. You can duel his BKB, but nobody's going to kill him in duel, because OD can't do any damage. Legion is not going to be farmed enough, likely, to kill Terrorblade, and then you have a Medusa who's not going to do it on her own. So, I don't know. I'm just not as negative about it. But yeah, let's just see how it plays out. At least the laning stage, I think, should be pretty even for both teams. The mid lane is fine for Storm for the time being. It's going to get super annoying when OD gets his hammer, but until then, Storm will be okay. Bottom lane is, I think, going to be largely a wash. And honestly, top lane, I think, slightly favoring Wildcard Gaming, because Disruptor's first spell is going to be hard to use against Legion Commander. But at the same time, they don't do the best job at pressuring Terrorblade with these two heroes, so he should be able to farm.
And what are your thoughts on Legion? I mean, I feel like we've had this conversation 1,000 times, but has anything changed with Legion? Is it still you're picking her for the press the attack save, and that's essentially her job the entire game, is to just be able to itemize, be able to put herself in position to save people? Or is there any way to actually turn her more into an offensive threat?
In a lot of strategies, I would say Legion Commander can also have a lot of laning prowess. This is not the best lane for her, but she is good against Disruptor, right? And she does okay against Terrorblade, so that's fine. And I think many a game, Duel is a game-winning spell. It might not be in this game in particular for the reasons I lined up earlier, especially if Weaver ends up getting an Ags at some point, right? But I definitely think the hero is primarily picked for Press the Attack, but not only. She has other qualities. She has good voice lines, very pretty flags, and a cool
She has a
weapon.
good Arcana, I would say. That's pretty good cosmetics, yeah. I would agree with that. As mid lane, we have Esk on the OD. It's going to be facing off against Shaggy on the Storm Spirit. How do you like this matchup overall as I quickly reconnect?
Yeah, it's gonna be even until OD gets the hammer, and then I think OD just destroys Storm. There's nothing Storm can do about getting banished into hammered if it's well timed. Ball Lightning has enough cast time that it's somewhat easy to land that combo if you're an experienced OD player. You're playing against an intelligence hero, so you get a lot of mana out of using Astral Imprisonment. But in the beginning, both heroes farm, right? You can see that right now. It's pretty much neck and neck between Storm and OD, so Shaggy, I think, is probably pretty experienced in this matchup. I think he's doing a lot of the things right with just finding the farm with the remnants, making sure to farm the side camp, and paying respect when it's necessary. But obviously he's not really stopping OD either. So.
Yeah, bottom lane, Sammy Boy in a bit of trouble. Has the swarm attached to him right now.
That would have been a first blood with a bash.
Attempt to walk it out, yeah. No, we've talked about the notepad needed for that one. S is going to get an Astral off in the mid lane, which probably the most annoying spell as a mid laner to face up against, just missing so much CS as a result. But, I mean, having said that, Shaggy is leading in terms of CS right now.
Okay,
so
some of it is side camps, so I think he's effectively behind on net worth. Yeah, he is by about 200.
Radiant structures are fortified.
The hammer is
right now.
The hammer's close, right?
Do you agree with the panel at all concerning Terrorblade and just having a hard game once you get past the laning stage, even?
Yes and no. Uh-oh. Eve? Eve's fine. Not quite. I think his game is not going to be that terrible. From my perspective, his worst matchup in this game is probably Bane, actually, to an extent. Like, I'm not too concerned about duel if Terrorblade is farmed. I think he can outlast it, and you can solve it with charge onto the duel. You can charge onto someone else in the backline that's doing the actual damage, because Legion's damage on Terrorblade is kind of negligible later. Terrorblade has so much armor that you don't care that much. If your BK beat, OD is a non-factor entirely, and Medusa is a spread damage carry, so she's not going to kill you either. So what's going to kill you is long single-target lockdowns that you're not protected against, like Fiend Script, like Duel, where other heroes get to hit. But if this Terrorblade gets 3 or 4 items, I think he can carry the game against this entire lineup, just given that he has some sort of decent protection behind.
Good old TB. Yep. That was one of the carries for TI. Nothing has really changed in that respect, I suppose. Still beasting it up as the meta to be able to farm here, it looks like. And are you expecting... I mean, last game started off pretty slowly. It was 1-1 at, like, I want to say 8 to 10 minutes. Are you? I mean, we don't have a first blood yet. Is that surprising at all to you? Or are you expecting the slow? I mean, this game is pretty important to both teams, and this is a game 3.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find a kill this early, right? Weaver Spirit Breaker lane is not going to kill Medusa very easily. They almost killed Bane. They were actually close twice in the bottom lane, to be fair, so that was pretty decent. OD against Storm is not going to be a kill until Meteor Hammer comes into play, but now Storm just isn't laning anymore. And in the top lane, yeah, we talked about how Legion can counter the Disruptor and how Legion does no damage to Terrorblade. So I think this is the most likely outcome of the first 6 minutes, actually, is that nobody dies, as sad as that sounds. But there's just some games that are set up like this with the lanes, and that doesn't mean necessarily that the teams are playing passive or scared. It's just they're playing the lineups the way the lanes make sense. And I think for either team, this is completely fine so far.
Yeah. Well, Esk has his Meteor Hammer online, so we'll be pushing the waves, trying to pressure the tower as much as possible. And he has a full level advantage on Shaggy, actually. He's going to make some more CS as a result of this Astral. What are your thoughts on Meteor Hammer? You know that meme that was going around on Reddit about how you can't play OD? Like, it was basically built for OD, essentially, this item. And maybe there's like a Treant and maybe like one more. What are your thoughts on an item only being used by like 2.5 heroes?
There's actually quite a few of those items. It's easy to single out Meteor Hammer, but if you think about it, Battle Fury is in a kind of similar spot, right? There's another item that I'm forgetting that very few heroes buy as well. Arcane Blink. Very few heroes buy.
Mid lane. Yeah. Oh!
You can't get banished to Storm in this spot. I don't even know if he was banished there. He might just have been ultied from having low mana. Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a problem that it's an item that few heroes want to buy. Oh, good banish. He even has the regen
Sentry
running.
Yeah, Sammy Boy's there with the help, and that's going to be an easy kill. Doesn't actually attack Esk to take off the regen. A little bit surprising there.
You know what? I just thought about
HP.
Meteor Hammer is bought by like 2 or 3 heroes. How many heroes is Dagon bought by?
Yeah, but Dagon is a meme.
How about Witchblade?
Witchblade, okay. There's a couple
Probably
range
bought by 2 or 3, right?
Heroes.
Helm of the Overlord, 2 or 3 heroes.
See, that's the thing. I
There's
actually
plenty.
don't. I mean, I think the reason people get mad about it is because it's Meteor Hammer. It's not because of the concept behind it. Like,
It's because it's annoying to play against, right? It's because it just feels unfair. The thing is, if you think about it, Meteor Hammer isn't a broken item, right? It's not the item that's good, it's the combination. So I don't know what you want to nerf about. Like, if you want to nerf the item or OD, if you want to do anything. But it's just frustrating. I get it. It's just annoying to play against. All right, they're going to find Rises here. If this hammer
Yep,
connects,
we got
it's
the
going to
meteor
die.
hammer combo. There it goes. It connects into the duel. Divine Llama with the first 10 damage of the game, and they tip Rises.
Jubei was not in
After
range
the
to
fact.
glimpse OD, I think. Or that could have been a save. He dropped the kinetic field to try to get vision. But the glimpse only being level 2 couldn't cancel the hammer cast. With a cancel there, I think it could have kept him alive. But nice kill coming in from Wildcard Gaming. They're definitely taking a lot of advantage of this very one-sided matchup mid that Esk has after the hammer. And they've even made a nice fat stack for him here. Or well, was it for Dusa? We'll never know. But she's arriving to a half-farmed jungle. We'll clean up the
Kicking Esk out, as it should be. I mean, if OD is farming a bunch of stacks, that doesn't really feel natural, does it? Obviously, Meteor Hammer does help quite a bit with that. As Rises pops meta, gonna be applying some pressure to this tier 1 tower. Only Sammy Boy's here, but a TP coming in. Zero. He's gonna be in the midst of things. Astral off on the TP.
he got the charge
but it gets
off.
canceled
That's
by
big.
the charge, so no more meme hammer for you. As Esk continuing to get right click as Jubei has come into the scene as well. Sammy Boy, Dunzo. TP support's continuing in. There's the glimpse into the kinetic, or the static storm, I should say, but the self-astral saving Esk. So trading an Astral for Static Storm, not too shabby, but here comes basically the entire team focusing now on Esk, getting every single bash on
Oh,
the
he got
script
hold
breaker.
off.
Gets off the hammer at the last moment, but dies shortly after. Another duel Rises. Looks like he'll live through at least that. A couple more right clicks will do this. Divine Llama continue to toggle that armlet, and he's going to get that last right click from so far away as they find Storm Spirit as well. Divine Llama getting charged. This is somehow turning into a mega team fight in the bot lane. And tons of cores have already died. It's a double kill for Rubik, of all heroes. He will likely die to this swarm. So a double kill for Dunhai as well, so...
All right, give me your verdict. Who won that fight?
Nobody. The viewers.
I think
The viewers.
Wildcard Gaming did, because Medusa wasn't there and got mid tier 1. But that's not really because of the fight. It's because of what's going on around the map, right? So that was essentially a 5v4, and they broke even. So I think Wildcard Gaming is very happy with this, how much space they just got for Eve there. Already having Dragonlance Treads building toward a Yasha.
Bot lane. Sammy Boy is going to be dead again. This will be his 3rd death of the game. And likely the conceding of the tier 1 tower in the bot lane.
Yeah.
You can see that they're pinging top lane, so might look for a trade.
Really
As
important
is-
there that Rises finds the range to get the Nightmare taken off with an illusion. If that charge doesn't come out, they get destroyed here. And Clutch self-banish here as well. Really saved the fight for them. So some good individual plays. I'm not sure if you caught it during the fight, but the duel from Divine Llama that we're going to see here, as I guess we are staying in the replay the whole way. Just look how little damage he does to a Terrorblade. He has Armlet toggled on.
Yeah.
He's taking like 30% of his bar with 2 procs of Moment of Courage. And he is...
Good old Legion.
He's pretty farmed, right? So it's just the matchup. It's just a high armor hero. Charge.
21
then
armor.
Charge. This fight was great, actually. But yeah, Wildcard Gaming should be very happy with that.
Yep, as
Nice
we have a
soft
zip
nightmare.
in, Shaggy. Yeah, wanting to find the rune, but was not there. Sammy Boy, it looks like he's going to get destroyed for his efforts. Oh, we have a glimpse on the duel target, which, that was weird. He glimpsed, then got dueled, and then ended up glimpsing the LC away. Now Alex getting dove onto the tier 1 tower as Rise is going to pop that meta, so likely will try to go for this tower as well.
I'm trying to remember how duel works. If you get glimpsed to the other side of the map, I think the duel actually ends. I think it has a max breaking range, but I don't remember what it is. Fortunately, we can mouse over the ability and it will tell us. Oh, it actually does! I can't believe it. I was sure it wouldn't say it. It's 2K. You need to hold down Alt. There you go.
Oh,
Duels
wow.
end if the units are pushed 2K units apart. So if you do a max range glimpse is not enough. It needs to be, like, glimpse is 1800, right? So Legion needs to have moved more than the max glimpse range, which would be like a TP duel, or some sort of haste plus blink or something silly. Then maybe.
But that didn't always used to be the case. I remember global glimpses with duels.
And then the heroes
Still
started
taunting.
moving toward each other, right? Yeah, it got changed.
Yeah,
I don't remember
exactly.
why. It was probably causing
Yeah, I think it's
interaction.
hilarious.
Maybe it caused problems with Rubik or Morphling. That's probably what it was. And they were just like, whatever.
Yeah, we need more buffs for Morphling. That's what we need.
I don't think that's what it was. It was probably just breaking something, you know?
Well,
And you know what's better than
Eve right
fixing
now-
a problem? Removing the cause.
Tower is under attack.
I mean, that is technically fixing a problem,
Depends on your perspective.
I guess. Eve on the Medusa has the Dragon Lance and casual Yasha. We'll be finishing the full S&Y and then going for Aghanim Scepter, actually. So really good against TB Illusions. I get that stone form off, extra physical damage and whatnot. As
Oh, nice Nightmare.
down
Just
in the
barely.
jungle, we have the zip in from Shaggy. Looks like Sammy Boy is going to take his 5th death of the game
Nice
in
brain
all
sap.
likelihood.
One
Yep,
of the-
he sure does have brain sap.
One of the cute things
You are
Bane can
technically
do
correct.
against Terrorblade is if you brain sap an illusion, you heal so much. He got a full heal out of level 3 brain sap there.
Oh,
Dire's
We'll get out.
top tower
So
is
Terrorblade illusions take how much damage? 320%, right? So that means if brain sap deals 225, it deals about 800. So it's an 800 self heal if you cast it on a TB Illu. It's pretty
pretty
strong.
nice.
Yeah.
And 2K net worth lead here for Wildcard.
Did I say 800? That was terrible math. It was like 700. I needed to
So,
correct that.
this is just proof that I literally don't listen to you.
No, it's proof
I
that you
just
can't
assumed you were
calculate
right.
anything.
That too. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a certain point where I just should give you the credit where credit's due, right? Because you're often right, and I'm not.
Oh, you
That's
were
what
about
makes
to
it
say
work.
more often there, but you stopped yourself. Oh, grip.
Grip from Sammy Boy. He's going to get glimpsed, though, but there's the ult from Esk
dead.
into the Astral and into the death for 0.
That was a somewhat expensive kill. They used hammer and, well, not meteor hammer, the other hammer. Sanity's
Yeah.
Eclipse and Fiend Script for a position 3 Spirit Breaker. This could open up an opportunity for a play
we
for
have the
black and
blink
yellow.
duel from Divine Llama. He needs another proc. He does get it from that moment of courage.
Damn, he does a lot
Second
more
duel
damage
victory
to
for
Weaver
him.
than to Terrorblade with that, huh?
Shocking development, I know.
Unbelievable.
He has the blink armlet, going to be finishing off phase boots and then going for the shard.
His middle tower is under
And the real
attack.
question is, if he gets to the point after that, I'm really curious what he actually buys. Maybe like a halberd. One of these days, we're going to see damage-dealing Legion back.
I would like, after the shard, to have... I think he should go to scale in this game. I think he should try to. He can kill the Storm, he can kill the Weaver. Spirit Breaker is tough because the duel lasts for like no time at all if he has Bulldoze running, but just having Legion be a threat, I think, is really valuable here and not just only play a supporting role. Because like we talked about before, the 2 cores that Wildcard Gaming have don't deal very good single target physical.
Under attack.
So it's not just the Terrorblade perspective we're looking at here, it's also the Storm. When Storm eventually gets a BKB, he's not really an easy kill for them at all unless Legion packs a punch in the duel. So I think it could be
Right.
worth looking at.
Tower is under attack.
Oh, we're going
they
to see the
found
lift.
Rises.
Onto Rise is already at half health, looking for a Sunder target. He's going to get it onto Divine Llama, who's going to try to reset, press the attacks himself. Another strike now onto Esk, who's stuck in a really precarious spot, but you see the Static Storm basically applied just to Sammy Boy. And they will find that kill along with Esk. Just a long-range right-click from Rises is enough to finish the job, and this Tier 1 tower has barely been
Oh,
touched.
did they
They're
get
gonna
that
continue
charge?
the
They
pressure
did.
here, Divine Llama.
But he played.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Alex gets glimpsed back into the kinetic field. Shaggy still has a respectable amount of mana left, but you can see that they're not super eager to go too deep here.
Middle tower has fallen.
They'll claim the tower. This is a good move from Black and Yellow. They take advantage of the OD ult being on cooldown, the grip being on cooldown. They make a quick move. Now they're going to find Alex.
Oh,
The
yeah.
counter
There's
duel,
dual
though.
target. Alex is donezo. And the glimpse back is actually going to save Divine Llama for now. It's a 1-for-1 to start this fight. Nightmare is going to be taken off so Rises can run away, and that means Jubei might be in a world of hurt here.
Region on Storm.
Tower is under
Is he going to use it?
Good kinetic field, but the blink out from Divine Llama, easy chop down.
He did activate the regen. I think
Shaggy.
they're going to look to re-engage. Shaggy is visible on a ward, though. He's just farming with it.
Over here now.
And they are walking towards him, but you're right. They have blink duel in 15 seconds, still a ways away.
Radiant are
If they find Divine Llama here, they could just kill him with Spirit Breaker Storm, but do not seem aware where he is. There's a Radiant ward providing the vision there, and they're just going to chill. So, yeah, all in all, still a very close game.
Over here now.
I'm still looking for that timing when Terrorblade starts getting really scary. I think when Scotty comes out, it gets more and more worrisome for Wildcard here. But pushing this top tier 2 is a really great opportunity for them. If they get that, they open up a much easier Roshan as well. If they can push in that top wave even further and get better vision. Their lineup is pretty decent at killing Rosh. OD is a lot better than it used to be, obviously. Oh, gonna find the banish on Weaver. No hammer usage, though. Was scared of the follow-up and wisely backs out because Zero was ready. It's one of the better heroes.
Does have
against
Ags, by
OD.
the way, on Esk, so has the double Astral to work with. As we're seeing Shaggy, he has the Kaya Sage finished.
Sammy. All right, didn't get found there.
Dire's top tower has
And the interesting pickup is Dunhai on the Weaver is working towards an Orchid.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I don't know how much I like that this game. I wonder who he's planning to use it for. If it's literally just a way of, you know, stopping Fiend's Grip or stopping banishes from OD. But it is inherently going to fall off as the Radiant heroes will want BKB in this game. At some point against Disruptor and against Storm. Except Dusa, maybe. Maybe just Orchid Dusa for Amp as well. It's not bad. And there goes the Rosh. OD with that press the attack damage and Arcane Orb actually does so much damage to Rosh nowadays.
It will cost them a tier 2 tower bot.
Yeah.
And it is being scanned out, so they're aware of this. So it'll end up being just a trade, essentially. But Eve likely to take this Aegis. Indeed, he does. He's very close to finishing his Agnum Scepter as well.
I wonder when the BKB is coming out for OD. So he's buying Lens next, has it queued up at least. One of the downsides to BKB is obviously self-banish, but I do think you wanted this game. You need to be able to save other heroes reliably. When the Weaver Orchid comes out and you're playing against Static Storm, you're playing against especially Spirit Breaker, is actually going to be super annoying. Because he will charge you with Bulldoze on, and even if you do get the banish on him, it lasts like 1 second and he goes again. And if you banish yourself, then you're not really doing anything in the fight, right? Then you're just sitting in a banish. All right, charge on Divine Llama. It's going to ult as well, Storm Spirit. Misses the
Another
jump!
strike to follow. Divine Llama does get off his press the attack with that shard, though, and the duel to follow. It doesn't look like a kill is going to result, at least not the damage-wise. Zero taken out shortly after the duel. Divine Llama looks to be next, so it's a 1-for-1. Esk getting glimpsed back, so Shaggy should be fine, but no, Sammy Boy from the high ground gets off the Fiend's Grip, and a Fade Bolt is enough.
Oof. Shaggy cannot be
2
happy
for
with
1.
that. He missed his long ball lightning on the Legion there, and that is why there was no kill. Spirit Breaker with both the charge and the Nether Strike should be plenty setup time to target that Storm Ball Lightning correctly, but off the mark, maybe underestimated how far the pushback is from Nether Strike, and that cost them 2 cores, that mistake actually, so very expensive here for Black and Yellow.
Yeah, but going high ground will be quite difficult. Medusa, I mean, she has pretty good items at this stage, but it's not really high ground items yet, I would say. And you're going against a TB who has Scotty. So,
Yeah.
very scary stuff. I mean, their Rise is about 1,000 behind the Medusa, so pretty close overall. And you can see Alex sporting that Shikuchi now. Has the Yule Scepter, so it can cancel off the Bulldoze from Zero.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised they didn't. I mean, I guess Bane really needs. He's going for Aether Lens or something. He doesn't really have anything right now, but
Lens.
the double Yules wouldn't be too bad considering you can't really always bank on Rubik getting it off, but he does have Arcane Supremacy for a little extra cast range, I suppose. It feels like the Yules just shuts down Spirit Breaker pretty well. Like the whole charge in, Shadow Blade out, with Bulldoze on the whole time.
Yeah,
To deal with.
the thing is, if Bane wants to Yule Spirit Breaker, he needs to put himself in a pretty compromised position, right? Bane wants to stand really far behind and just cast Defensive Nightmare and then a situational grip. And what enables you to do that is the lens. Here we see the replay. So that ball lightning there, if that connects, Legion Commander might just be dead on the spot, or at least down to like 5 or 10%, and then he would die now. But instead, this is taking longer and longer and longer, and finally Shaggy gets Yules because it takes so long. And that means time is there for Sammy to connect and get that Storm collateral. So, yeah, nicely counterplayed by Wildcard there, but a better ball lightning could have really made that happen.
So sitting at the 3K net worth lead now for Wildcard. Do you think that puts them at a very heavy advantage? I mean, they have the Aegis, obviously, but I mean, actually, the better question is, can they go high ground
Not yet.
during this Aegis timer?
I don't think so. I think it's very unlikely that they'll pull that off in 2 minutes. Medusa's base damage is not good right now because you went Ags and Sanjin Yasha, so you don't have like, you know, Butterfly or something like a Daedalus to get massive single target building damage. So I don't think that should be the plan here for Even. It's not a problem for them per se to just play it slow and keep building up. Their lineup does scale very well with Legion as well as OD as the other two cores. But you are obviously facing a Terrorblade who will get big. Like, that's just going to happen now. He crossed the threshold where it wouldn't get difficult. My question is, how are they going to deal with his BKB? Because that's coming up very, very soon. And I don't know. I don't think they can kill him in BKB currently. Not at all. That's a little bit scary. Might need to just kite it, like keep saving the heroes he's targeting, buy time, and then when it runs out, that's when OD just kills him off. But yeah, there's, I feel like there's plenty of opportunities for both teams to still win this game.
So do you think you talked about you don't like the idea of having 3 heroes, or several heroes for that matter, having a similar kind of task at hand when it gets to the mid to late game, which is saves, right? Is there a point of the game where that becomes more of a benefit? Like, does it get better as the game goes on?
It's
or does it get worse?
How to say? It's not necessarily bad, right? There's been major winning strategies that have like 2 key saves. It's more that, like, think of it this way. You know, there's some games where you have, let's say you have Ravage, Chrono, and Black Hole, right? And then it's like, okay, how do we set up a fight with these spells? Like, who goes first? You need to make sure you don't stack them on top of each other. You need to make sure that they feel valuable when they get used. With the saves, it can kind of be the same thing, right? Let's say someone gets jumped, and then you immediately both try to Nightmare, Banish, and press the attack him, because all your heroes are in range. You need to make sure you don't waste all your saves in one spot. You need to make sure you don't use the wrong save, because Astral can be worse than press the attack in the right situation, and vice versa, because press the attack gives magic immunity, the other one banishes you. And the third one sleeps you, right? So I'm just saying you have options, but it's not as easy to play as it might sound. It's like, yeah, it's great to have all these options, but if they kind of counterplay each other if used incorrectly, then especially if you're not like a top echelon tier team, there's room for mistakes, right? There's risk of mistakes in these moments. So I think it's fine. I think especially, for me, the sweet spot is to have 2 saves. I think that's a great amount, because then it's less likely that your heroes end up playing very similarly in the fight. And if you do have 2 saves, there's also less risk of overlap, right? So that's why I think 3 might be a little bit on the edge. But, you know, you could just choose not to use the Nightmare as a save most of the time, or focus more on the grip, etc. So they can play around it.
So again, if you're just joining us, this is game 3 of this best of 3 for Wildcard Gaming versus Black and Yellow. So I'm looking at the records right now. Wildcard coming into this series was middle of the pack, and Black and Yellow bottom 2. But of course, in terms of like win-losses, they're pretty close together. I believe if Black and Yellow wins this series, then they end up essentially tying Wildcard Gaming. So a lot's on the line. You don't want to be bottom 2. We all know Arkosh Gaming will be in that bottom 2 discussion anyway. So the question is, who will be the second of the bottom 2 Cinderin? Right now, it's simply 2-based, but I feel like their roster, need to look at what their schedule actually was, because roster-wise, they have maybe the most recognizable team outside of the top 3 teams that we've talked about so much coming into this tournament.
Are Arkosh mathematically out?
No, I'm just making memes.
I mean, they might be close. I think they've won 1 series, right?
They're 1-3 for series.
Right. Okay. There's lots of things that can happen. So I wouldn't count any team out yet, but clearly, if Black and Yellow don't win here, it's not looking good. Let's put it that way. Like, then they're really under pressure. Having just that 1 extra win can be a huge relief. I don't think, realistically speaking, that Black and Yellow is a team that's expecting to go to the major at this point with the games they've lost. So now you're playing to keep your Division 1 spot for practice, to get better, and to, you know, keeping this spot is quite valuable from the perspective of just having, like, quote-unquote free prize money in the next season, right? You guarantee that spot. I think the prize for getting around the middle of the pack in the NADPC is about 25 grand, if I'm not mistaken. So, or is it 20? It's probably like 20K. ish. I'm going off memory here. I think, let's say it's 20K for staying in the middle of the pack. Then you have that locked in for next season as well. And that's, it's nice. These players are not just playing for fun. So,
were you
just double check.
Surprised that no major changes were made to the DPC? We've talked about this, of course, on the old pod, but haven't really picked your brain about DPC related stuff in a while, because I think they kept. I'm trying to remember what detail that I was hoping that they would change. Obviously, the prize distribution.
Right. It is 25 grand for middle of the pack. It's 22,000 plus 1K per placement, and then top placement is 30K instead of 29. So very close. Anyway,
tell me this: at what point would you want the game to be, theoretically speaking? Because we've talked about, I'm not going to name it, other games where tier 2 players, let's call them, which would be lower division, if we're equating that, make a lot of money compared to what they do in Dota, right? And a lot of it comes to, TI just having such a massive impact and being like the main tournament everybody's focusing on every single year. But is there a sweet spot, you think?
I think you would need to restructure it in a way so that it just flat out needs to be more profitable to play Division 2, right? But it comes from multiple things. It comes from sponsors being engaged, which comes from there being more prizes. And then when there's more at stake and the teams are more recognizable, then there's going to be higher viewership. But a lot of it just comes from the audience, right? Like if there aren't very many people watching, depending on the game in Division 2, then there's less incentive for organizations to get involved, right? So it kind of needs to be this organic growth that is sparked by prizes, I think. Because the teams are there and the players are there, right? And they want to compete for something. And I think we're slowly, step by step, getting there, but it just takes time. I would like to see a redistribution of the prizes overall, though, and obviously a lot of the TI prize could perhaps be redistributed to the season, and that to me would make a pretty big difference, getting more. Nothing like some good old trickle-down economics, right?
Oh, we have the jump in from Devi Lama. Shaggy getting a little bit too cocky, trying to go for that creep. Expends almost all his mana. Now it's all out thanks to that Soul Ring. Devi Lama, a couple more right clicks will do it. Shaggy denies the bounty, knowing that he was going to die. Well played for him as, cancel TP here.
Made sure to give a shout out to the base police for that bounty rune deny. Very nice. Was he like ball lightning TPing the mid wave? No, he didn't TP. He just ball lightning did and was out of mana. Oh, it's kind of weird. Oh, they found Spirit Breaker.
He stuck around a little bit longer to get that last range creep, as we're going to see.
Yeah, he's toast.
Good old Spirit Breaker getting meme hammered on. And will be brought down, I would assume. Oi! All right, another one. And down he goes. As meanwhile, Sammy Boy gets off a big old grip on the Dunhai. In the meantime, we have the duel come out.
What an
easy
awesome
victory
fight.
for Devi Lama.
Oh, that was so funny, actually. There's this Thunderstrike, there's this ticking time bomb on Bane, but it's doing like no damage. And he's gripping one guy and the other guy's duel. So they're just looking at each other, not playing the game, and then ultimately they die. Look at this situation. This is so comical. It gets dueled here. And
I have to say, Sammy Boy very, very committed to his Fiend's Grip this series.
Yeah.
Loving what I'm seeing.
I think, honestly, a lot of the times people underestimate what value it can have to just get your spells off, right? Like, even if you die and the grip is 2 seconds or 1 second long, you forced a stun, you forced a silence, you redirected damage onto your support. I'm not going to pretend it's a higher impact play than getting a 5-second grip, right? But in some situations, it's just the best thing you've got, and then you've got to go for that instead of playing for a dream play that never exists in the situation. So I think that's a mistake at lower skill that players actually make a lot, is that they look for that dream moment that is so unlikely because that's what they see in the pro games or see in the highlights or whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. Oh, press the attacks can take off that Orchid. Zero gets off the charge, though. And Sammy Boy, I thought he was going to let this on the
OD, that's the biggest kill.
Here. It's Ask inside that Static Storm Kinetic Field combination. Looks like they'll find the OD to start things out. Eve, in the meantime, still has his ult to work with. Hasn't popped it, though. They're going to find the Storm Spirit. Finally uses it, but there's nobody really around him anymore. It's going to be a 1-for-1 Storm for OD. So
I feel like Risers could actually just man up and fight here. I think they can... With a really good backstab from Weaver, this could have been an awesome fight. There's no OD to kill him. There's no duel.
Yep.
He's very safe on Terribly. Just go to town, dude. Get in there.
Is, just on the outskirts here. They do find the kill like you talked about. as Ryze is just pounding into everybody, knowing that this Medusa ult is already off cooldown. The Nightmare mitigating a little bit of damage. This is going to be a big kill onto Medusa. Does find the Spirit Breaker in the end, so it's a 1-for-1, technically speaking. 4 dead for Black and Yellow, but the one hero that matters, Ryze, is still up and running.
Oh, they buy back
onto
Legion
Divide.
to try to get this kill with a duel, but I think he's fine. All right, that buyback actually makes it a win for Black and Yellow. I think without that, that was kind of a draw, but... Oh, wait, they have the outpost.
Oh,
He might cut him off here.
Yeah, we're going to see Divide Llama get off the duel. He's not going to get the kill initially, obviously. As the Storm jumps in, though, gets the Vortex onto Esk. We can see the Astral Imprisonment onto Ryze. He's just going to walk it off.
Well,
we see the hammer come out from Esk, and Shaggy saves his Terrorblade technically, but it costs his own life.
The thing is, I think it could have saved him and survived. He kind of overcommitted a little bit too long to try to turn around on that OD, but he does not have enough damage on his own, and maybe could have just jumped out there with a ball lightning after the Vortex. That was all Terrorblade needed most of the way there anyway to get away, was to just not get hammered. But it's all right. It's Valiant. Saved him. Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised that Black and Yellow didn't end up winning that previous fight, I have to say. Like, there was no Medusa ulti, there was no OD, and no duel. And they were a little bit hesitant. And then when they finally committed, they just took so much damage on their heroes initially, when it should have really been Terrorblade leading the charge, just getting set up by one stun or one glimpse or whatever it was they had in the tank. He could have solo killed cores there, but Wildcard were surprisingly powerful in that spot. Double spider legs, one for each team.
Oh, how handy.
And they're going to TP down Shaggy.
Alex
Okay,
is
very strong position
halfway
here.
to his Ags, by the way, on the Rubik. You don't get to see that all too often. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, what's he looking to steal with that? Ag Static Storm?
I mean, you can use your spell steal and mess it up, and then just do it again, right? That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Ag Static Storm, Ag's Time Lapse. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, if you get time lapse, that's obviously the
Ag's
best one
meta.
possibly get.
Now that is
Oh my
lit.
god, meta!
Steal Ag's meta, blink into them, and fear them all. Wait, that's not how it works. Oh wait, it is how
what
it
do you
works.
mean?
You could do that.
Yeah,
You could do that. Yeah, you
it's
can
its
do
own
that.
spell. So,
Yeah, you can do that.
oh, we have a smoke from Black and Yellow. I think they know that Roche is occurring right now. As Sammy Boy is going to take the brunt of this damage. He's taken out in quick succession, buys back into the game. You can see the meta already popped here, and Wildcard Gaming, he's going to get glimpsed back onto Eve, pops that ult. Everybody else runs away, but I don't think they can finish Roche. He's not low enough right now. As there's the duel. It's going to be a successful one for Divide Llama onto the Spirit Breaker, who buys back into the game immediately. There's a static
Oh, they
storm
found S.
onto the OD. This is a huge kill if they can find it. They don't have that much damage, though. Press the attack, keeping him healthy for now. You can see the right clicks from the sideline. Rises, trying to go to town. That's a shard with the Astral Spear, or Imprisonment. There's a huge hammer from Esk. It's not enough to actually find a kill as of yet, though. And Zero finally taking some right-click damage from Esk. He's going to find another one. Double kill for him. Buybacks galore. Shaggy's come with all the mana in the world to work with, and now they're focusing on the Rises from the sideline. Not able to get a Sunder off. And this is a basically 5-for-1 exchange with tons of buybacks from Black and Yellow, and Shaggy might be finding his way to the grave again. Uses all his mana to Divide Llama, jumps in. That is a dieback onto Shaggy as well. That's 2 diebacks for Black and Yellow. And it was 3 buybacks overall. This should leave Roche completely open, or maybe even a full set of racks.
That was a huge loss. So look at this situation. Like, Terrorblade is isolated in the middle of the river alone. The relative positioning of their heroes is just a little bit off, right? You want Terrorblade to stand so that he is playing around his team rather than being isolated on his own there. And they just get into this awkward spot. And that OD hammer, like you said, coming out just here before Esk gets in trouble. So much damage. Hits on 4 heroes. And that really sealed the deal on that fight. Huge ulti from Esk. If he dies earlier in that Static Storm, because Terrorblade is in a better position, totally different story.
Oh, they got another duel victory for Divide Llama. 120 extra damage. Legion's looking good, Synderen. Yeah!
Yeah, press the attack, baby.
Full set of racks in the mid lane. They're going to get at least the melee in top and can probably just back.
Oh,
go for Roche, but there's the glimpse. Press the attack counter. Good, clean stuff.
Yep.
And this will be the second Roche. So that's going to be a shard. So OD already has his. Terrorblades is kind of meh. Or that's the other team, of course.
Yep.
Doesn't change the fact that Terrorblades is kind of meh. I believe
think,
Medusa
okay,
took it, right?
you need to tell me this. We were just talking about Rubik eggs, right? If you steal Metamorphosis, you don't get the spell that Terrorblade gets if he has Ags, right? That's a separate spell. Terror Wave is a new spell Terrorblade gets. So you don't need Ags to steal it. You just need to cast Spell Steal after Terrorblade uses Terror Wave,
true.
right? So
I think that's true.
That's
Yeah.
unrelated, I think. So the things he can steal with this Ags that he does have are Static Storm, Time Lapse, and that's arguably it that you would care about here, right? Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you focus a lot on that. I look at the cooldown as being the biggest reason you usually get this anyway, right?
Steal
2-second
Electric
cooldown.
Vortex, and then you blink in and use that. How about that?
Wow!
That's actually that's Black Hole. Rubik's Vortex would
gonna
last
be hard to
so long.
It's true. Well, that's
Dragon.
2 sets of racks, Cinderin, in favor of Wildcard Gaming. It looks like they want to finish this with this Aegis. Still 4 minutes left. And I assume Eve just wants to finish up that butterfly before going down the bottom lane, which still the tier 1 tower is standing.
Yep, he's got it. It's coming on the courier.
Shaggy trying to take out some extra waves here to prevent the inevitable push, but obviously they can just go through mid, they can go through anywhere. And with all those items, obviously we've seen the Scotty already for Eve. Getting close to level 25 as well. So split shot using the Scotty modifier, pretty great.
Or 75 intelligence. Oh, that's a dead Shaggy without buyback bottom.
Oh, wow.
Easy catch.
That was unexpected.
Rubik lift into duel.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Yep, and the tier 2 tower is going to fall after the fact. And all black and yellow can really do is just try to take out these outer towers for now. Not sure how much they can actually pressure any further than that. Rises. Glimpse on the Sammy boy, but at a very safe distance. And with his press the attack, you have all the high ground taking that you need on just Medusa. You see Meteor Hammer again. And they really can't do anything without Storm. I think they actually have to give up Megas.
Yep.
And then just try a YOLO play. And that is going to be Mega Creeps for Wildcard. You're going to see the glimpse on the Eve. Looks like the panelists were correct, Cinderin, and you were incorrect.
About?
Favoring one lineup over the other. You gave a very... Oh, that was Mega Creeps.
You
sorry.
are incorrect about Mega Creeps. Now it is Mega Creeps.
Thank you. Well, we can both be wrong in the same game. It's fitting, as always. All right, last-ditch effort here for black and yellow. They're going to triple smoke, as Eve is still going to continue to go to town on these tier 4 towers. SNY picked up by Rises is kind of a last-ditch effort. And Eve's very close to level 25, by the way, not even probably needed at this point. He's going to pop his ult, creating a lot of space here. Shaggy used most of his mana already. As you can see the Astral Imprisonment being used to full effect. Kill onto the Weaver into the buyback. And now, looking for potential kill here on Horizon, who pops the BKB, but is getting gripped on the sidelines. Gets off the Sunder in the last moment. Eve took a lot of damage as a result, but remember, still has his Aegis working and ready to go. He did go for the split shot, use his modifiers, and just going to town on everybody. But they do lose the OD and the Bane. And Alex getting bashed by Zero as Eve trying to clean things up. Well, they do lose several heroes. Don't think they can actually finish now, but we'll see. As the Lama still does not have duel for another 10 seconds. Zero looks to be just fine.
Oh, they're going to
charge in again. Yeah, with the Swarm to follow from Dunhai. As the Orchid applied as well.
Spirit Breaker almost died to Blast Rig. That would have been really funny.
Wait, how much damage does that do?
It's 200, I think, when it explodes,
200?
right? 300
damage.
Yeah. He almost died to the Blast Rig. He definitely wasn't accounting for that. What a way to go.
I'm assuming it's magical. Does it say? It doesn't say.
I think it's magical, yeah.
Surprised Eve's not going for Satanic, but probably doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it has the split shot, uses modifiers like we said, so...
He seems
Mjolnir
pretty
does make
invincible for
sense.
now. Until Terribly gets an MKB, I don't think he's too worried, to be honest.
Yep, just waiting for their respawn time. I mean, I don't think you need to wait for the next Roche, but maybe they play a very disciplined approach here.
Did you notice Medusa's win rates there with the talents?
No.
She has over 70% win rate when reaching level 25.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so she had 71% win rate with the left talent and 75% win rate with the right talent.
How
That's
how often do they take the right talent though?
8% of the time. But it's more that Medusa wins 7 out of 10 games that are almost 7.5 out of 10 games that she reaches level 25. I think that's got to be one of the highest win rates for a level 25 hero. That is really high.
Crazy. I mean, do you think it's just because it's one of these hard late game heroes, or is it that in combination with having a crazy 25 talent? Because if you look at
It's both,
Terrorblade,
yeah.
for example, I wouldn't say his are crazy. Like the Thunder cooldown, we've seen it be very crazy, but it's situational.
I would imagine if you just looked at Terrorblade's win rates right now, it would be different.
Yeah.
All right, so OD's win rates are also insane on level 25. I think this is a much smaller sample size, though. But I would imagine if you looked at Terrorblade's, they're probably like 60-something. Because I think Terrorblade loses, yeah, they're like 65, right? 66. So that's the whole... That means Terrorblade in these late game 25 scenarios wins 5% less games than Dusa. That's quite significant, actually.
Yep, Eve is brushing
Well,
everybody off.
what are you going to do, boys? You can't hit this guy. You have no true strike. He has Satanic. You got to do something, man. You're starting to lose your base. All right, here we go.
All right, there's the meta. So Eve trying to reset a bit here. Of course, he's extremely slow with no boots. Has to pop his ult. That gives him a little extra move speed.
Very surprised. Are they... Hello?
He's at half mana. I think this is the time to fight for black and yellow with that metamorphosis already popped. Astro's going to save Medusa for now. The jump on the duel, but you see the Fiend's grip onto 0. Looks like he'll live through this engagement, but they are dropping like flies, Cinderin. Just way too much damage from Eve to speak of. Triple kill to end the game. GGs are called, and Wildcard game.